What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the April. Welcome back to a brand new video. Pat Riley has woken up. The Miami Heat have made a trade. We are back. The Miami Heat are back. The front office is woken up. Let's go. Thomas Bryant. Nah, in all seriousness though. Thomas Bryant got traded just now. I was actually uploading a video, like literally as the trade news broke out. I was in the middle of editing a video. I was like, bro, why did this trade news have to break out right now? Because then I have to make another video about this Thomas Bryant stuff. So I just decided to just scrap that video. I'm gonna talk about the stuff on that video that I was editing on this video right now. So that's gonna be towards the end of this video. But Thomas Bryant trade, again, it's not too major, nothing like that. It's just a trade to the Pacers for a second round pick swap. Listen, Thomas Bryant, I feel like we could all kind of sense this coming. He just was not a player that was playing well this season. Kevin Love was ahead of him in the rotation. Khalil Ware was drafted, and frankly, even though Khalil Ware didn't look amazing in the minutes he got, he looked better than Thomas Bryant as a rookie. Nico played well as a backup 5 last night, and most importantly, this clears a roster spot for the Miami Heat to convert a certain player who's on a 2-way contract right now and is playing really, really big minutes for this team. Drew Smith is most likely going to be getting a standard after this. Again, this is not anything from sources. It's just my speculation. I just feel like this really is like the clear path right now for the Miami Heat is to convert Drew Smith to a standard deal. He's on a 2-way right now, and he's obviously the top option, for a standard contract for this team. So Thomas Bryant gone, future second round pick swap. I mean, Thomas Bryant was actually not a bad locker room guy, but unfortunately just wasn't really good on the court at all. But we will hope to see him do well in Indiana. A good teammate, but again, like I said, not somebody who really played well. And obviously, I thought he was pretty much a waste of a re-signing in this offseason. So, yeah, listen, we'll have to see what they do with this open roster spot that they have. Interesting to see if this actually saves them some money. I'm not sure if it will, because Thomas Bryant was basically on a minimum anyway. So I think Drew Smith is probably just going to be replacing that with his name. And he's probably going to be getting the standard contract. All indications point towards that. We'll see if that even happens or not. But I'm assuming this is going to be the case. I don't think this has anything to do with Jimmy Butler. I don't think this has anything to do with any other player on this team. I think this is purely just because the Heat want to convert Drew Smith's contract to a standard deal. He's on a 2-way right now, and they don't have the room to do that. They had to either cut a player or they had to trade a player. It's better to trade Thomas Bryant for a future second-round pick swap rather than just cut him for nothing. So Indiana, who needed a center, they've been very thin on center depth. They've lost Isaiah Jackson to injury. They didn't have a backup center to Miles Turner. Thomas Bryant, I guess, can play some minutes for them. So yeah, it'll be good for him. He went to IU. He's I'm not sure if he's from Indiana, but I know he went to Indiana University. So it won't be too unfamiliar with playing over there. But yeah, for the Heat, from their perspective, it's a good deal. Wash your hands away with that Thomas Bryant deal. Pick up a future second round pick swap. I mean, for a team that's lacking draft capital, it's a good move, lateral move. Doesn't really change much. But Drew Smith is probably going to be getting that standard contract that he so much deserves. Shout out to Drew, man. Drew's proved me wrong. He's proved a lot of people wrong. I owe him an apology, because honestly, I wasn't sure where this breakout season would even come from, but it's happening, and he's been really, really good this season for us. So shout out to Drew Smith. I mean, he's been putting in the work clearly, and he looks really good. So yeah, apart from that, other news, we are on a 4-game winning streak, and we're playing really good basketball. Honestly, I will say that the offensive rating has been really, really picking up. Like, we are top 10 offensively if you're looking at offensive rating right now throughout the whole season. Number 9 throughout the whole season, and I believe we're top 5 in like the last few stretch of games. We have been playing really good basketball offensively over these last 15 games or last 10 games. We won 10 out of the last 15. We are 1-4 straight. We are tied for the 3rd seed with 10 losses. The only difference is that Orlando and New York, who are ahead of us in the standings, have played more games than we have, and I believe New York actually lost yesterday, so we might actually be ahead, we might be ahead of New York in losses, or it might be the same. I'm not sure, but the point is Miami's playing really well right now, and Miami, with the nature of the Eastern Conference, it's just not really looking too good. Apart from Boston and Cleveland, like no team has really like played that well this season. Orlando has played well, but no team has really, like, I guess, impressed apart from, I guess, Boston, Cleveland, and then Orlando. But Orlando is now without their two best players who both have oblique injuries somehow. And then New York is just defensively just giving up a lot of points. So Miami actually has a chance to make a little bit of a run here. Their schedule is pretty favorable over this next month. They don't really play any like elite team besides OKC, and then I think they played Denver in mid-January. But apart from that, like, it's a lot of lottery teams, playing teams. I know they play Detroit there. They play Portland. They play San Antonio. Our next game is actually against Detroit. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But listen, this is a stretch that the Heat have to take advantage of. They are playing really good basketball right now. Obviously, the schedule is favoring them right now, which is something we'll take after that tough road trip at the start of the season. So we have to take advantage of the schedule. We have to make sure that we put in the work this season, and we get going, and we climb up those standings, because we like top 5, but we would like to be top 4 and then eventually top 3. So if that's the aspiration, I hope that they this is not the last move that they make. I really hope that. I really hope that they try to make some more moves. But this was a good move to get Drew Smith converted on a permanent standard contract. So he's earned it. He's been playing really well. I just want to shout out Nikola Jovic as well, because I feel like he's been getting DNPs over the past few games, and then last night he was really instrumental in our comeback victory over Toronto. They were up by 16 at one point, and then Spo put Nico in, and the rest was history. We absolutely blew them out the water. It became a really big blowout game in the third quarter. They cut it a little bit in the fourth, but listen, I mean, got to give Nico credit, man. He's a tough kid. I'm just not sure about his fit on this team long term, but I feel like if he has the ball in his hands, he'll be really effective no matter what team he's on. But if he's in Miami, which I hope so, I hope it works out here for him. I really want to see him with the ball in his hands play a lot more. I don't want to see him spotting up and being a catch and shoot player, because that's just not who he is to me. But yeah, good games by Nico and Drew. Last but not least, before I get into some Jimmy Butler stuff, the three-point shooting has been absolutely phenomenal this season. We're top 5 in three-point percentage, and I feel like it's really correlated with our offensive rating. Like, if you look at all the other offensive stats, we're bottom 10 in points in the paint, and we don't really shoot our free throws that well this season. So the three-pointers have really kept us in games, and they've really been reasons as to why our offensive rating is as high as it is. You would like to see the defense get back to top 10. They're 11th right now, but offensive rating number 9 is actually something that we haven't had in like a long time. So listen, this offensive rating, I feel like it's mostly predicated on the fact that they are shooting the lights out of the ball this season. They shot over 40% in these 4 wins that they've had over these last 4 games. My only concern is when the shooting, if the shooting starts to drop off, and if the guys start breaking shots, and because slumps are inevitable in basketball, how will the team respond offensively? And that's when I think Jimmy, Bam, Tyler have to do their due diligence and get into the paint and cause mismatch problems. But the biggest impact of the shooting being so good right now is that teams have to at least respect the fact that they can shoot the ball. The Heat are really good at shooting the 3 ball, and teams have to respect that. But yeah, that's really all about where the Heat stand right now. I want to get into some Jimmy Butler stuff. Real quick before we do that though, make sure y'all vote Tyler Hero as an All-Star. I don't know when voting opens, but when voting opens, Tyler Hero better be an All-Star, man. I'm not sure. If he's not an All-Star, I don't know who is. He's been playing at an absolute All-Star level this season. The Heat are winning games. He should be an All-Star. Go get your votes in whenever the voting opens up. That is a PSA from me. Let's get into Jimmy Butler stuff, because we have to get through and break down some of the stuff that's been happening. I made a video the other day where I kind of broke it down briefly, but since then a lot of news has come out, a lot of rumors. People have been talking on TV. Jimmy Butler's agent has been responding to Shams on Twitter. It's been all over the place. I will say, it doesn't really matter whose side you're on. I don't think Shams would just make up reports like that. I'm not saying anything that he's saying is 100% true. I'm just saying that, I feel like both sides can be true in this case. I feel like Jimmy Butler's agent could also be trying to do some damage control here. But I don't think anything that Shams reported was anything crazy. I really don't think that Shams reported anything breaking. I feel like we've already known this information since the offseason. And let me break it down to the people who just are not aware of really what's going on, or probably a little bit confused as to what the reports even are. I just want to clear up any confusion and just make it clear for everybody as to what the situation and the issue is with Jimmy Butler and his contract and the Heat. So back in the offseason, the Heat had an option to extend Jimmy Butler, give him a max contract in July. And they decided to just wait on that. And they said, listen, we're going to wait. We don't have to give him the extension right now. And we're just going to wait and see how it plays out. And since then, obviously, Jimmy wants his bag. We know that. He's been not vocal about it, but we know that he wants to get paid. And it's been pretty common knowledge that he will probably decline his player option, seeking a max extension. He's 35 years old. He wants that last contract before he retires. So this is really like what he wants, essentially, from a contract perspective. And the Heat are just not ready to give that to him just now. So obviously, this report broke. Shams was basically saying Miami's listing on offers. And these are teams that Jimmy Butler is interested in: the Rockets, Warriors, Mavericks, and then he added the Suns. And that's when Jimmy Butler's agent fired back at him. And then Shams doubled down on his take, and he was like, I stand on everything I said. It's 100% fact. Now, listen, whoever side you're on, it's just important to understand what the meaning behind Shams' tweets even was. Like, I don't think people really are understanding terminology that was being used. I've seen a lot of people on ESPN, I've seen a lot of like national media people think that Jimmy Butler has requested a trade. I've seen a lot of people thinking that Miami is shopping Jimmy Butler. I've seen a lot of reports saying that other teams are aggressively pursuing Jimmy Butler. None of this is true. Like, none of this has been reported. None of this is true. Like, from everything that we have been seeing right now, is that Jimmy Butler wants a max extension. And Brian Windhorst even said this, but Jimmy Butler would prefer that the max extension happen in Miami. He wants to be a Miami Heat player for the rest of his career. And that's been common knowledge. He said it. I mean, he's been pretty vocal about it. People have reported on it. He wants to be a Miami Heat player. He likes it here, as we all know. The biggest sticking point is obviously the contract. But Miami, as a front office, has to do their due diligence. They're obviously not sure as to whether they want to pay him or not. So if they're not going to pay him, they have to do their homework on what teams can give packages for Jimmy Butler that could be enticing. So that's why they're listening in on offers. That does not mean they're saying, hey, Jimmy Butler is available for trade, we're shopping him. No, that just means, hey, listen, we don't know if we're going to extend Jimmy. If we don't extend Jimmy, what do you guys have to offer to us for him? That's all they're doing. It's not about, listen, we want to trade Jimmy right now. We're definitely not extending him. No. Miami's just doing their due diligence and just trying to cover all their bases. Just in case they do not extend Jimmy, they have some teams that they can go to and be like, listen, we're not going to extend him. We already came to you in December, and you guys said you would offer us this. We like this deal, blah, blah, blah. That's all they're doing. It's not anything crazy. I don't think it should be something that's being overblown. I really think it's very simple. The Heat are not 100% sure as to whether they want to pay him or not. So in the case that they don't pay him, they have to do their homework, they have to cover their bases, and they have to, have teams that they can go to and be like, listen, the offer that you guys came to us with, or that we asked, and you guys came to us with, are you guys still on board with doing that? Because we're probably not going to extend him. That's really all they're trying to do. It's a fallback plan. Like, you need to have a plan B. That's their plan B, is that they're listing in on offers. If they don't pay him, they have offers they can fall back on. That's all they're doing. But let me make it clear right now, Miami, in their mind, they don't have any rush to do anything. Like, they're not in a rush to do anything. They're not pressured right now. They are very relaxed, their front office right now. And let me tell you why. Obviously, we would wish the front office would have given him more help when he was here in his prime over the past 2 seasons. And obviously, we want him to get help right now as well, just because, this could be like the last season in Miami, and we're actually looking pretty good right now. So I really hope that this is not the last move that they make. But the Heat's front office is very aware of the fact that no team has come out and said, hey, we want to go get Jimmy Butler right now. All the teams that were listed in Shams' report were teams that Jimmy Butler would have liked to go to if Miami does not trade him. And Jimmy Butler's camp is playing this smartly as well, because they're like, listen, Miami's doing their due diligence and they're doing their homework. If they don't extend me, I'm also going to do my homework and be like, okay, fine. If they don't extend me, then these are some of the teams that I would like to go to. So you can go listen in on offers from them. That's really what they're doing. It's a lot of mind games, but to me, it's very simple. Miami's saying, listen, we're unsure if we want to pay you or not. We haven't decided yet, but in the case that we don't, we're going to listen in on offers. And Jimmy's like, okay, fine. If you guys don't pay me, these are some of the teams I would like to go to. That's it. But no decision has been made about whether Jimmy's going to get paid, this or that. Like, this is really just in case. These are the teams that Jimmy would like to go to. That's it. But neither of these teams are obligated to go trade for Jimmy Butler. None of these teams. These are just teams that Jimmy Butler would want to go to if he's traded. But Houston Rockets don't have to go get Jimmy Butler. Neither do Dallas, neither does Golden State. And I'm not even sure how Phoenix can make this happen, because Phoenix would have to trade Bradley Beal. And I don't know any team who would want Bradley Beal's $50 million contract right now with the no trade clause. I have no idea. So right now, it would be astronomically difficult to trade for Jimmy Butler midseason. Like, this would be something that you would have to move like 5-6 pieces if you're a team, especially if you're a contender who's like over the second apron. Like, Jimmy Butler's contract is really hefty. Like, you need to move a lot of pieces to go get this guy because his contract is so big. So Miami knows that, obviously, and they know that no team is going to be in the position to go trade for him right now, and no team is really out there being reported that they're pursuing him right now. So they're not really in a rush to extend him or to make any big moves regarding him right now, because they just don't really have the rush to do so. And it's the same thing in the offseason. Let's say Jimmy Butler, because people will be like, well, what if he walks in the offseason? Well, that's not really going to happen, because if Miami decides to say, listen, we're just going to take it till the offseason, we're not going to extend you right now, we're going to decide in the offseason of next year as to what we want to do, people will be like, well, what if Jimmy Butler walks? The reason that won't happen is because what contender has the cap space to go sign Jimmy Butler in the offseason? Nobody. So even if Miami decides to not extend him in the offseason, they cannot lose Jimmy Butler for nothing, because Jimmy Butler would have to, they would have to do a sign and trade with Jimmy Butler, and they would still get some pieces back for him regardless, whether it's in the offseason or whether it's in the middle of this season. So Miami is in a good spot with this whole Jimmy Butler stuff. The only argument that I would make to say, like, listen, like, try to get this done sooner than later is to get this whole drama and all these reports and all this national attention off of this stuff, so that we can put this to bed. You don't want this being a distraction for the team. That's the only thing I would say, like, okay, maybe try to make a decision sooner than later. But regarding the contract, regarding whether they have to pay him or trade him, they have the leverage and the upper hand here, because, again, no team is in the position to go move 5-6 pieces for Jimmy right now, and no team has, really been reported to even go after Jimmy Butler. Any team is going to have to trade for Jimmy Butler is going to have to pay him that max extension. So that's what Miami is taking advantage of, the fact that, listen, all these teams that are going to be after Jimmy Butler, they're going to have to pay him. So that means they're going to have to make some room to get him. So that means we're going to have to trade some pieces to us, and we can sit tight and just wait for that to happen if we don't extend him. But then we'll take our time. We'll see how he plays the season, and we'll decide, that way to see if he's traded or not, or if he's extended or not. And that's what it is. So that's basically my I guess overview and summary of the whole situation. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about the Thomas Bryant trade. Let me know what you guys think about what the Heat should do with the roster spot. Let me know what you guys think about the winning streak. I covered a lot in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below, man. Shout out to Thomas Bryant for being a good teammate. It didn't work out here, but wish you all the best in Indiana. And we'll see what they do with the two-way contract. Hopefully it's Drew Smith. But yeah, we'll see, man. I'll see y'all later as always. Peace.